Brett Allen here. Thanks everybody for watching. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and give us a follow, share with a friend for more great interviews. Today we are talking Disenchanted, the sequel to Disney's Enchanted, which I can't even believe is it been 15 years? My gosh.
It's been 15 years.
Wow. Well, we're chatting with one of the stars, Ingrid Werner, about this film. It's now available to watch and to stream, and it's just as good as the original. How does it feel to be a part of such an iconic film and franchise? I mean, I still can't get over the fact it's been that long because it feels like the original just came out like a year or so ago.
Yeah, honestly, like I as well was like, I can't believe it's been 15 years. I feel like I watched it yesterday. It's been really surreal. It's such a big project that I think just even like when I got the audition and everything, it just didn't really stick with me. I didn't really understand like what I was getting myself into. But it's been nothing but wonderful. Disney's been so great. The people I worked with, Patrick Dempsey was amazing. It was just such a great like first big picture experience. But I still don't think I can take it in. I was walking the streets in New York yesterday and they were advertising on this like movable billboard things, and I was like, I can't believe it's just nuts, honestly.
Yeah, well, it is a great experience, I would imagine, for being. I mean, you've done other things, but this being like a really first major outing for
Yeah.
you as an actor and storyteller, it has to feel good. Now, I understand I've watched other interviews, but you really didn't know what you were auditioning for, correct? Well,
Yeah.
that seems pretty typical of Disney in general, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know like for back in the day I used to do like I did a Grey's Anatomy like audition thing with like their casting person, and I remember they all had mock sides. And so when I got this one, it did say Disenchanted on the top of the page, but I like in my head just thought it was Disenchantment, the Netflix cartoon from The
Yeah,
Simpsons, especially because it said VO, and I was like, voiceover, okay, great. And I thought it was a bit weird because like, why are they looking for American actors in London? Um, and then it kind of dawned on me when I saw the project breakdown and who's directing and who's doing what. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is the Disenchanted. I guess they're doing a follow. I didn't even know. I should have known, but I was like, okay, I guess they're doing a follow up. And then it dawned on me, but I thought I can't get too kind of like I can't think too much about the scope of it. So I just did the audition. I didn't even know it had the fake names. The scene was a lot shorter than it was in the final script. And I just like had to do it, just make up my own little story about what this character was and what was happening. I had no context. I mean, I had context clues, but that's it. And then I just did the audition. And when I got the role, my agent called me and was she was so excited, and I was so the antithesis of that. I was like, okay, great, because I couldn't tell what she was saying to me. um I just didn't even dawn on me, and I had done a few auditions, so I wasn't really sure which one, which is like a luxury problem to have. Um and and then I got off the phone with her, and she was a bit like, oh, okay, well, congrats. And I was like, okay, thanks. And then I had to like think back, look through my emails, like, what is this? And then I was like, I wonder if it's like this Disney thing. And then, yeah, it was. And I called her back like about 10 minutes later, and I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, this is amazing. And then she was like, oh, okay. She got the reaction she wanted from me. And equally so, like, I was super pleased, but it was a bit, I think my body was just like in shock, like I couldn't even understand it, because it is
sure.
it is a big deal, and I love the first one. So, and I look up to these people, so it is a huge deal for me.
Yes, and I think it's interesting too because you filmed this quite some time ago, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
back in March. I filmed it. Well, for Disney, and especially with the animation and stuff, like it's not that long ago. But they all filmed the crux of the film last year in Ireland, so t 2021, and then they added more to it this year. So I've got to film it in March and see it already, which is actually like quite a short time frame if you think about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, I can be impatient. So for me, it's great because I got to see it already, you know?
Right, because I remember when they were announcing this at D23, I think
Yeah.
everybody sort of expected it's going to be a while before we get this, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, by the way, it's coming out around Thanksgiving this year,"
Yeah.
and people were a bit surprised.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I mean, again, just thinking back to 15 years just seems so crazy. I mean, usually Disney will wait a while to do something, but that's a really
Yeah.
long time for them to go back and revisit the story. But I don't know. I mean, everybody's busy, everybody has crazy schedules. I mean, they could have been wanting to do this right after the first one came out, but obviously doing other things. And both of those actors have put out multiple projects
Yeah.
since then, but it's great. I think everything works out in the timing that it's supposed to. And I
Yeah.
imagine as an actor like yourself, you get to do things and audition for things, as you mentioned, multiple times, but then you have to sort of learn, I imagine, to be okay with waiting, right? How have you
Yes.
adjusted to that as an actor and storyteller when you do something or audition and then you have to wait a while before it comes out? Because it's a slow burn, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it can drive a lot of people a bit crazy if you don't have anything else to focus on. I think it's taken me years, honestly, years of practice of like being let down, um, going for months waiting on something. And I think ultimately you just like kind of learn to have this sort of, okay, I've done it, now I'm letting it go. I mean, it's not easy letting it go, but you just have to kind of be like, okay, well, if it happens, it happens, it's fine. And I'll, if it's meant to be kind of thing, you have to just have that mentality. It's kind of woo woo, but sometimes it's hard. Like with this project, I obviously like really wanted it, and when you really want it, it's really difficult to not kind of be impatient and needing an answer. But with this one, I think while it was a while it is a great project and I really wanted it, I thought, you know what, I've auditioned for this casting director in the past.
Okay.
Obviously she liked my tape in the past, so maybe, that's great. So at least if nothing else, she sees another tape of mine, and like that's a win. Like you have to take your small wins from this, especially like where I'm at in my career. And I think it's I just, for this one in particular, I was like, okay, well, it's a short scene. I've done my best. I've sent them my three takes, moving on with my life. And then you just have to get pleasantly surprised, I think. And I think that's probably the best way to deal with
Right.
it.
Well, I like what you said, and I've heard that before. Like for some people, you just have to have the mentality of like just the fact that the casting wants to see you multiple times is a big
Yeah.
deal, because and I've heard casting directors say that too. It's like if we keep inviting you back, that means that we like you. We just have to find the right position for you, so to speak. I don't know. I've done some background and stand-in work when I lived in New
Oh,
Mexico, and I
cool.
saw a casting director so many times, and I would always tease and say, "Are you going to cast me this time?" And she would laugh, and that was sort of like our banter a little bit because it's like, yeah, I just have to
Yeah.
find the right place for you. And then it's like you get director's notes and you get really excited because you're like, oh, well, the director has seen it. And then you do it a
Yeah.
different way and then you still don't get it. It's like going to a job, but not ever knowing if you ever got the position or not. But
I
I mean,
know.
it pays off clearly for this, and that has to be a big
Yeah.
victory, I would think.
Yeah, honestly, like I had my intention for the year was like get one significant job, whatever that means for me. And this is like one of them, obviously. Like this is the one, right? So I think I already hit my goal this year. But I think for I was just auditioning for a Hulu show, and this is another casting director who's called me in multiple times. So she also will always call me in for one role and then be like, "Oh, actually, read for this role," you know? So like I can tell she likes me, and that's all I can ask for, honestly. And then it's not up to them. Ultimately it's up to, do I fit the project? You know, who are the other actors? Like, do I look too much like this person? Does the producer like want to put someone else in? You know, you never know. So you can't like really, all you can hope for is like the casting director builds a relationship with you and then likes you. I recently wrapped a short film that was like a really, really cool like passion project of the director, but I got that from auditioning for something else. And then
Yeah.
the casting director really liking me and was like, I'm a fan. Do you want to read for this? And I did. And then I got that. So you never, honestly, you never know.
Yeah. But hey, it is a vagabond life that can be very
Yeah.
rewarding.
I love it.
especially,
I
yeah,
know.
especially when you wind up with projects like this. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations. It's a fun film.
Thank you.
Your part that you play
Thank
is
you.
really fun. And I think if people haven't watched it yet, head over to Disney Plus. It's there available to watch and stream now. We've been chatting with Ingrid. Congratulations on this, and excited to
Thank you.
see what is next for you. Thank you so much for hanging out today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.